Every journey leaves a story behind. From remote roads and unexpected encounters to life-changing adventures across the globe, these are the experiences that shape who we become. Welcome to People, Places, and Things. And now your host, Ryan Lowe. Let's hit the road.
Welcome to People, Places, and Things. And today we have Mark Baker, a.k.a. Dumb Luck, joining us today. Welcome, Mark.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Dude, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. You're a rapper. You've toured all over the country.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a bit later. But I wanted to start with your background and what led you to rap in general.
In general, I was a kid. I was in second grade, I think, second or third grade. And I used to just watch music videos. Like, we had the box back then. They would just play music videos all day. You call and request stuff. And music had never really been a huge part of granted, I was a kid. My life wasn't huge, but nothing had ever really stuck out to me. And then I saw Jurassic 5, World of Entertainment music video. And I instantly was like, what is this? This is like, I don't know what this is, but I want more. And that was the first album I ever bought for myself. Like parents, I'd be like, can you get me Weird Al or whatever? But that was the first one. I was like, I need money to go buy this. And I listened to that album on repeat for so long. And that just led to other stuff. I started listening in elementary. I was listening to The Roots, DMX, Dr. Dre. Chronic 2001 came out when I was in 5th grade, I think. Eminem, obviously. Tupac. My dad's friend gave me a Tupac CD, and it was a double disc Until the End of Time. It was such a good album. And my whole existence in school was just finding new artists and listening to rap. That's all that I ever wanted to listen to. And I had daydreams about wanting to rap, but I never thought, I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to. You got to be from, you got to be a certain type of person. You got to come from a certain background, which isn't the case. But I was I knew a lot of people and I was friends with a lot of people, but I was also kind of a lone wolf, not in a corny way, but I always did my own thing. And hip hop was just always my favorite stuff, like graffiti, DJing, breakdancing. And then when I was in my junior or senior year, linked up with a friend that had been rapping for a while. And he showed me, I started writing graffiti, got into a crew the summer I graduated high school. And one of my crew members, I had known him since 7th grade and he had rapped forever. And he was like, freestyle with me. And I was like, I don't know how. And he's like, just try. And I would try and I sucked, which I had tried before and I sucked. But he was like, no, keep going. Just keep going. And within 3 months, I just broke through this crazy barrier and was already one of the best freestylers. And I think it's because I had a car that had no radio. And I had just learned about MF Doom at the time. And my cousin told me to buy the Metal Fingers CD. I didn't know it was just a bunch of beats, but then now I have 48 beats. So I would just drive around, and there's this documentary called Freestyle, and that's also what helped me get really good at freestyle. And there's this dude Supernat from New York, and I would just watch the way he kind of zones out. He kind of goes autopilot and stops trying to think and kind of lets stuff flow freely, like freestyle, haha. But he's really good at just being in the moment and letting, not trying to control what you're going to say too much. And so I was driving around and I would try to make dope freestyle punchlines out of what I was seeing, like a mailbox number, and correlate it to a car that I'm passing or people walking on the street or something. And I got really good at that. So I was quick and then started freestyling at parties, and people always wanted to battle me for some reason. And I would just smash them over and over and over. And then my brother's friend was in a band that was kind of like a reggae hip hop alternative band. He forcibly sat me down and was like, He's like, "Why don't you write songs?" And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "We're writing a song today." I was like, "I don't know how." And he's like, "You can freestyle. You basically just freestyle until you come up with a line you like, and then you freestyle until you come up with another line you like." And I was like, "Oh." And I played my first show like right when I turned 19. So like within 5, 6 months out of high school, I started rapping and played a show. And like already some local people here who were doing some cool things took notice and started taking me on shows to Colorado, Boise, um, Idaho Falls, California, Arizona. And then it's just kind of like domino affected since then. It's just been like, because I spent so much time as a kid listening to hip hop, being so like obsessed with it. And then all of a sudden I get like the golden ticket, which is like, oh, I can do it too. And I just haven't stopped. It's been 18 years almost since I started rapping. It's crazy.
Dude, that's an insane progression though. Like, so
Yeah.
you've had this influence your entire life from influential rappers such as Tupac or whatever to like freestylers such as
Yeah.
you're explaining as Supernat. So you grew up in Utah, um,
Yeah.
and you're explaining that like you thought originally you had to be from this certain background.
I didn't necessarily think you had to be from like a certain background in that regard. I just thought that like it was, like you either did it or you didn't. And I didn't do it. So I didn't think that I could. I'd never
Right.
like given it a try, I guess. But like I said, like I kind of had a pretty tumultuous youth. Lot of obstacles. I got kicked out of 7 different schools in junior high. Um, just like in and out of the court system and stuff, and just kind of a dipshit to say the least. Um, but also like outside influences and hip. It was cool because like I never really found like super tight knit community growing up because I was always going to different schools and like going to live with my mom out in Sandy or like living with my dad down here in Salt Lake. Like I'd never really clicked up with people that were consistent. So I didn't really have any influences like changing the way that I looked at things. So I would like like I would listen to all the stuff that was on the radio, like gangster rap and stuff, and find like some kind of underground or like lesser known artist from that vein, like Cameron. Purple Haze Cameron was such a good album. I listened to that for so long. But then my cousin was into like the underground conscious rap, like they were my cousin Liz and her brother Pete first put me on to the Roots and then Aesop Rock and LP, Cage, like all these other underground artists. And that was kind of like what uh influenced my earlier stuff. But there's always been like that also like that kind of gangster rap side as well that I have. Uh and yeah, it's just like but I'd mentioned before we started the podcast that like um I do know that I'm really good at putting words together. And I think it's just from the years before I even started of just being like dissecting how rappers did stuff, dissecting the way that they like would make a punchline or do like a punchline that had been done so many times, but make it unique enough to still be like, damn, that was crazy. So I think it's just like I did my homework basically. So like it's very second nature for me to be able to do it, I guess.
Oh, entirely. And I think your environment molds you and kind of shapes your creativity a little bit. So when you first started like traveling to rap and do shows or battle rap, whatever it may be, did you see a difference when you changed environments, when you gone to Boise or Colorado or wherever it may be? Did you find a difference in the way they did things and the way they rapped, or was it just kind of person by person basis?
I like not to be like judgmental or throw shade or anything, but like it was, I was so new and young to it that I was just excited to be doing it, for the first like year or so. But then it became very apparent to me that I stood out time and time again. Like I was just better at rapping. I was just better at putting words together and I was better at performance and I was better at battling, and like that was kind of my world. But I also like I have never been great at the other side of things, like the packaging and promoting and connecting and so like I don't know it you see it doesn't really matter what state you're in, you see more of the same all over the place. And you see like the trendy rappers, right? Like whatever new wave is going on. If you go play a local show in whatever city, you're most likely going to see somebody sounding like the biggest person on the radio at the time, right? A bunch of people trying to emulate. And then you're always going to have like, especially from the smaller states, like smaller places, you're going to have like the edgy underground artists that are so conscious and stuff. And it's like, I don't really want to be either of those. I don't want to, I don't know. Um, but like, I didn't see too much difference in a lot of places beyond like what resources were available to them. Right.
Right.
So doesn't matter what state you're in, it depends on, like, how big is your scene? What are the people like, what role is everyone playing? Do you have people that are just there to put on shows? Or do you have, like, artists who are putting on shows and kind of controlling their subculture there with that? Like, always putting themselves front and center because they're the ones doing the work. Or do you have like so it's weird. Yeah. I don't know. There is differences, but not too much, I guess. Same,
Right,
same.
right. I would say it's tight knit for those that are artists, actually, and performers.
Oh, yeah.
People who are listening to it's a different story. That's pretty widespread. I mean, it's very popular genre, of course.
Yeah.
But I think the artistry behind it is pretty tight knit, and the people who do it well, that's even more tight knit.
Yeah. Well, it's also a huge thing, is rap is one of those things where, like, people do it out of high school and they will do it for 2 years and then move on, right? And so it does become very tight knit when you keep bumping shoulders with people who are working just as hard as you to keep doing it. Or even if they're not necessarily like trying to blow up or like trying to like continue to progress, they still have a foot in the race and they're still playing shows and they're still making songs cuz like this is a very and like rap is yeah, it's cool, but it's also kind of silly, right? Like rap is very silly, especially as you get older. You're like, oh, I'm 37, I rap. This is kind of cool. Like, I don't know. Maybe I have a different view of it, but so for people to continue doing it, like it's not easy. It's not easy to make the time. It's not easy to to have the resources to record, to do, to go play shows, to build your whole lifestyle around the like taking advantage of opportunities when they come. So it does make it very, very tight knit. Like I have a lot of friends and acquaintances all over the country that like we don't talk all the time, but when we see each other, it's just like, man, it's so good to see you, like just because there's history there. And
Right.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But I like the amount of people just in Salt Lake alone I've seen come and go in my 18 years is crazy. It's like so many people who had so much potential but I get it. I've been there, fully been there a couple different times where you're like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing? But for me, I just can't quit. Like, there's like something that calls to me. Like, I am so obsessed with this thing still. Like, it's the main focus of every day, whether I like it or not. That's the problem. It's like if I try to put it on the back burner, I still will just spiral out and obsess over like doing it. So I just do it for my mental health. Yes.
Dude, that's a great point because I think the separation between those who we're all dreamers, and at a young age we dream of being this person and living this lifestyle, but passion and obsession go into it. And those who continue and carry that on and realize that this is what I want to do with my life, that's
Yeah.
the separation there, and be persistent and consistent.
Yeah.
And that's the separation, I think.
Well, and it's also, like we live in the states, we live in the capitalist mindset, and I have to check and balance myself a lot of times about like expectations or, like why am I doing, like, kind of asking myself the purpose. Because what I always come back to is when I first started doing music, I was like, didn't know what I was going to do. I just graduated. I didn't really want to go to college. There wasn't anything that made sense to me. I've never been very money motivated. So it wasn't like I didn't really want to go like make a bunch of money or I don't know. Like there was nothing that really sparked inspiration in me besides music. And the one idea I think before I even started doing music, it was still just kind of maybe a possibility. There was right around that time, the only dream that the only thing I wanted to accomplish was um, uh, to have like a comfortable house, to have enough money to pay my bills, and have the opportunity to make music every day, right? Maybe have a girlfriend, maybe, like whatever, get to, have like friends and stuff. But um, I always have to remind myself of that when I get too ahead of myself because I'm like, I built that. I'm living my, I'm living my dream. I'm living like, the intention that I put into my life. It came to fruition, and it's pretty cool. It's easy to take it for granted sometimes because life moves fast and expectations grow as you get older. But like, I'm at the root of it, I'm just happy. I get to make music with my friends. I have a cool house. I have a studio. I'm happy as a clam. Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome, and you built that, man, and,
Yeah.
you're lucky because a lot of people can't say that. So, I wanted to go over your first tour. So, what was your experience like that going on the road for the first time? And was it kinda like, "Hey, this is becoming reality?"
There like I did like a couple, like small you you wouldn't necessarily call them a tour, but like we'd go hit 2 or 3 different cities, and call it like, "Oh, it's this tour, it's that tour." But the first real tour that I ever did was I was 21, um, and it was the Alive and Well tour. It was just a bunch of it was, 6 was it 6 or 5? I think it was 5 local rappers from Salt Lake, um, and they invited me on it. uh, and they just they booked a tour. And back then, hip hop was like a lot more prominent. There was a excuse me, there was a lot of states that were having like weekly shows or monthly shows, and so you would kind of trade. You'd be like, "Hey, if you bring us out for this one, we'll bring you out for this one." And so it was easier to get shows booked because there was a bigger community that was kind of like depending on each other to, you know, continue to move forward. That doesn't really exist that much anymore, which is sad, crazy. Because I'll get back to that. But so yeah, the first tour was the Alive and Well tour. I think it was like 11 or 12 shows, something like that. 6 states, and we were gone for like 21 days. And it was like roughneck kind of stuff, like sleeping on floors. There's a couple nights we slept in the car. Uh, just being road warriors. But it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. Because it was like we took 2 cars, and I was in a car with my homie Wise and Pat Main, and it was like just hanging out with my homies for 3 weeks. And we'd all like stop and like we'd have to sneak each other in the hotel room because you can only have 3 people, but there were 6 of us. Uh it was sick. I still have somewhere there was this one show in Santa Cruz? I think it was it was somewhere around there, and it was a magazine that brought us out, like a little tiny city magazine, and they made shirts for us, and I still have the shirt. It has the whole crew on it and stuff, uh, but that was like it was tough, though. There was a lot of shows where there was, like, 5 people, and most of them were other rappers. But that's always kind of the game, right? Like, I but it was also just, like, kind of it it it, reinforced the fact that I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I just want to rap. I want to travel. Like seeing the man, like driving up the Pacific Coast Highway, and then like did the couple nights that we were sleeping in cars, we would there was one we drove to a beach, but it was pitch black. The moon wasn't out. Couldn't see anything. Convinced ourselves that there was a UFO out there somewhere, just delirious from the road. Cop comes up and we're like, yeah, we're just on tour and like we don't have money for a hotel, so we're just crashing in the car. And he's like, okay, it's better that you guys are out here than in the city, because the city does have, I can't remember what city, but he was like, yeah, that like you guys are fine. I'll make sure to send a car through to check on you guys every couple hours. I was like, cool. And we wake up and we're just on this like coastal beach. There, no one's around. We're watching the sunrise, and I was like, this is awesome. Driving through like redwoods, Washington. Yeah. And I was just like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I've just kind of it's been working. It yeah,
But that's
continues to happen.
you're putting yourself out there and, like you mentioned, there could be 5 people at the show, but that didn't stop you at all. You're like, "I know I'm very confident in my craft. I know
Yeah.
this exposure is what I need. I need to be going out and showing these people what I'm made of." When you went to other cities where maybe people didn't know you yet, how did they did they receive new rappers well? I mean, did they take to new people coming in like their quote unquote territory or whatever? Was that okay? Like for the local rappers or whoever it may be, like the audience in general?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely like all of us were very um we were really good at what we did, right? We were great performers, good songwriters, especially at that time when like Rhyme Sayers was really big, like, and we were doing like more of the conscious stuff. What are you doing up here? Look at this big beast. Look at this thing, dude.
Beautiful cat.
Evil. Um, but you want to stay up here? You can go ahead. Um, but yeah, we would get get out of the camp. We would what are you doing, kid? Uh yeah, we were received pretty well. There was so one of those shows, we were in Vegas for 6 nights, because we had 2 shows booked at the same venue with different promoters. And one of them was like more like underground, conscious stuff. And the other one was like it was just like I can't remember. It was some monthly or bi-monthly event that they threw there. And the second one was weird. So the first one we got received really well. Get your tail because it was kind of like our lane. And the next one, it was like a bunch of like gangster dudes in the crowd, right? And uh, there was 5 of us, and we would each only do like 3 songs or something like that, because we didn't want to play forever. You just want to be the star, huh? And we would always rotate. And I think I was like 4th that night, and the first 3 homies like couldn't, no crowd reaction. Like people are just hugging their, like hands in the pockets, hugging the wall, not reacting, just kind of like, what is this shit? Like what is this Salt Lake rap stuff? And I got up there and I remember I just like kind of, I didn't yell at the crowd, but I said something like, "Hey man, like I get it, yo, like you guys see us from Salt Lake and probably don't think we had to go through nothing, whatever." I made this whole speech and then played a couple of my like more punch you in the face type tracks, and I got a lot of praise for that. And I think that that's always helped too. Is like like I said, like I was kind of a ruffian, right? Like I dodged a I dodged a really bad lifestyle by like fractions a bunch of times. Just the kids that I grew up with, the people I was surrounded with, like just like listen to gangster rap and tried to live it, right? Like wanted to reenact what they heard in the songs. And I was always like, I don't want to be like, but I kind of have like a little bit of a street mentality. And I think that that's always kind of played to my advantage in this, because even though I'll have like some softer songs, like I really do like to talk about philosophical situations and like dilemmas in a lot of my songs. Like I still like know I don't know, not to sound stupid, but like I still can punch somebody in their face if I need to. Like that sounds dumb, but I don't know. Like it's been a balance for me. I remember that show in particular, it was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, got this. And yeah, I don't yeah, that tour was it was weird. It was fun. It was a learning experience.
Yeah, it takes a lot of balls to go out there, dude, to go out there and, I mean, just go in front of a crowd in general. It doesn't matter if you're rapping or whatever. Put
Yeah.
yourself on a stage. Most people would never do that. I mean, just to get up there is half the battle.
When I was younger, it was never a concern. I was like ready for it every time. I was gun ho. I was like, get me on stage. Like, I'm so comfy already. Like, and then I don't know what changed, but I don't know when it started either. But like probably in my 30s, maybe like 28, 29, I started getting so nervous.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I mean, I always got nervous, but I handled it a lot better. And now I'm like, woo. You can ask Zach Ivy. He's got videos of me just like right before we go on stage, and I hate it. Like I get so nervous, and I think it's like because of how much I care. I think it's like I really want to do the best that I can, and the anticipation gets to me, and I straight up. It's gotten better in the last year and a half, but like I get B rabbit syndrome. Like I will throw up before a show. I will get my nerves get frayed that much. Cute.
Do you think
It's
that comes
so
from,
funny.
like, you actually have a following now, like, a lot of people listen to you. Do you think that's more or less when you were younger, you had less to lose, and then now more it's like, "All right, like, this is you think that plays a part in it, or"
Yeah, it definitely does. Uh, I think it's also just like I said, it's just like I take it so serious. Like the majority of stuff that occurs in my life, I'm not really concerned about. Right? Like I've been through enough things and like situations that like if hiccups come along, I'm like, oh, whatever, I know how to handle this. Um, and I think that like all me being so carefree with everything else, like this is the one thing where I'm like, no, like I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like I've talked to friends about it. They're like, why? Why do you get nervous? I'm like, I don't know. Don't know. I just do. I just it's weird.
I think it's natural too. And then, um and naturally you're playing in front of bigger crowds too, so
Yeah.
it's it's one of those things, and, so going from that first tour, you're on tour for a bit, you said 3 weeks, you came back to Salt Lake and you're, like, pumped up, right?
Yeah.
You're ready to make more music.
Like
You've made a
I
lot of albums, in your 18 years.
back when I came back, I was working on there was a producer from I had just started working on the album like the winter before we went on tour. Um, then my homie Linus Stubbs from Ogden, he was like on a hot streak for so long. He was putting out like albums, multiple albums every year with people. He had like crazy features. And I asked him if he wanted to do an album with me, and he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What?" So I was working on that album, and that was kind of like my focus. Um, and I got I I would get like other opportunities to go play. Um, like I played a couple festivals, Desert Rocks a couple times, and had people bring me out to like Boise. I had a homie, my homie Gabe in Bozeman. We played a decent amount of shows up in Bozeman. Man, he used to throw really good shows, and it was always a great time. He would always let us crash at his house. Nicest dude. Unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. Um, and then like I would go to Arizona. I met my homie Gage. It's funny, Gage and Gabe. But my homie Gage down in Arizona would bring me out for a bunch of shows. And I would just kind of, like whatever was happening, I'd go with that and playing local shows. Like that was like at the time when there was a lot of shows happening in Salt Lake. And I would probably do like 5 to 6 shows a month, whether it was local or out of state. Like I was pretty active. And then I was also battling. Like that's another thing is I am a monster when it comes to battling, and that has gotten me huge acclaim. But um, it's funny because people will hear like they'll see a set of mine that like I'm doing all this introspective stuff, and then they'll like be like, "I saw your battles." Like, what the hell? And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a whole different monster on that side of things." Uh, but there, yeah. So I was like, there was battles popping off. I would go do, and it just kind of like kept going, and then I was putting my album out when I was 23, and a couple months before I put it out, my brother passed away in an avalanche. And that was a huge hurdle because I was like still recording this album. I had already put a release date on it and stuff, and I had to like deal with all that and then still put this album out. And I was still like staying pretty positive and like moving, like taking advantage of opportunities, playing shows and stuff like that for like probably 6 to 8 months after he passed, or after I guess I released the album. That was in 2012. And then I was supposed to open for George Watsky in Arizona. Me and my homie Pat played a show in Salt Lake the night before, drove all the way through the middle of the night to get to this show. We get there and the manager, George Watsky's manager, kicked me off the set. And
What?
I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, yo, what? Like, I just drove 13 hours through the middle of the night and you're just going to kick me off the set? Like, what? I didn't understand why. It made no sense to me. I was like, but dumbfounded. Check this out. This is going to be mind blowing. Dumbfounded, I think he's Korean, Asian rapper from LA, um, was in this group called Swim Team. And when I was 19 or maybe 20, they came and played a show and I wanted to go check them out. They had a freestyle battle. It was my first battle on a mic. I crushed the two people before me, and then I battled Dumbfounded's homie Learflip. And it was at the time when the Lakers and the Jazz were in the playoffs, and he was wearing a Lakers jersey, and I got him. Like I got this guy that tours and raps like all over the place, and little old me got this dude. Uh, so then fast forward, I'm backstage, and this is before I got told that I got kicked off the show. Backstage, and Dumbfounded's like, "Wait, you're that dude from Salt Lake?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I remember because we both had similar names." He's like, "How you been?" We start talking. His drummer at the time went by Breezy Lovejoy, ended up changing his name a couple years later to Anderson Pack. So I was just backstage hanging out with Anderson Pack, bro. Like, what? It's crazy. But yeah, so that show happened. I got kicked off the show, and I just like, it was, I think it was just like the camel, like the straw that broke the camel's back. I remember trying to, there was a guardrail at this bar that we were at, and I was trying to kick it out of the concrete. I was just like so mad at everything and like just drained. It had been such a long, that first album I put out, by the way, got number 6 in the nation on college radio. And I just thought that I was like, this is going to be it. Like things are going to keep happening. And then it just kind of, I had that show and I was just sick of it. So I kind of like, with my brother passing, it just caught up and I fell into the deepest depression I think I've ever had. And it took every ounce of me. I think it was like 9 months. I had like crazy insomnia. I might have been making music. I couldn't tell you what happened in those months. Like it was checked out. And I finally pulled myself out of it. And I'm like, okay, like I started putting out some songs here and there and like working on some other projects. But nothing was really going. And like the music I was making was like really heavily focused on my brother passing. And it was like really dark and depressing and hard to digest and just not good.
I was
And
gonna ask, does that affect your music? Kind of those traumatic
oh
events
yeah.
like that? That definitely affects it,
Yeah.
huh? Your
Yeah.
creativity and that whole process.
Yeah, and like I made an album, and that album is not up anymore. You can probably find it on YouTube. I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's just dark and gloomy, and it's like not what I want to represent. And I understand it, but I wish some of the friends in my life at the time would have like sat me down and been like, "Hey, this is a great album, but you shouldn't put it out. Like you need to take some time." But no one really did that, and I wish that I wouldn't have. But whatever, right? Like things happen. Uh, and then so like a year and a half after my brother passed, on my brother's birthday, my dad got diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. And yeah, and him and my mom have been divorced since I was like 3. So I was the primary caregiver for all that and just put everything on the back burner. I was like, "Okay, this takes precedent." And I think that my homies tried to throw they were throwing a benefit show for me. Um, and I was gonna play it, I think, but my dad passed like a couple days before it happened. And then I uh just like packed up, it took a couple months, packed up the house, and I traveled for 2.5 months living out of my car across the country. And that was huge for me.
Just by
It was like
yourself.
yeah, just by myself. Not even thinking about music or anything. I was just like, you know what? And like I think because like, my parents never had money. So I think the life insurance was like 20 grand. I was like, cool, I'm taking this and oh, I'm out. I was maybe looking, there was an idea that I might find somewhere else that I'd move to or something like that. Um, but like that was one of the most important and profound experiences that I've had in my life. Because I was so just the last couple years had been such a mess and like so much, hardship and stuff like that. And then I was just like, I need a timeout. I need to reevaluate who I am, what the hell I'm doing. Like, I don't know anymore. Like, like the half of my family is just gone. And me and my mom kind of have a crazy relationship. So I went to, I traveled the West Coast for like 2 weeks, down south, like southern Utah, Nevada. There's actually a really dope mountain range. There's a not mountain range, but there's 2 really dope places right outside of Las Vegas that nobody knows about. I swear. There's this place, Valley of Fire. It's like an hour north of Las Vegas. It's beautiful. You're just driving through this like bland, gray desert landscape, and then it just opens up in this beautiful red rock. And like there's these bunnies with ears the size of their bodies. And then there's a mountain range to the west, I think, of Vegas. I slept in my car out there and then went down to stay with my homie Pat in San Diego. Came back to Salt Lake for one day. Um, Packed up my car, went on a river rafting trip with some friends in Westwater, and then drove all the way out to New York. Uh, and yeah, just like seeing the open. One of my favorite things is being on a road that I've never been on. I don't know why, but it just feels like such an adventure.
Do you think that
Where is
cleared
this
your head a
going?
good bit? That whole experience, was it a bit transformative? Were you able to,
Oh yeah.
more or less find what you were looking for, or kind of reset?
Yeah. Yes. Well, and also like because of the crazy depression that I had gone through after my brother passed, I had already learned like, okay, grief is like it's like a mud pit, right? Like you can't lean on it too much or you're just gonna sink. Like you gotta be very delicate. And so I was really gun ho about not letting that happen again. I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to make sure that doesn't happen. And I was actually talking to somebody about, I played a show and I was talking about this on stage. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I spent this 2 months with nowhere to be, no expectation, really was able to process a lot of stuff. I was able to like kind of, like get it out without being seen, which was really nice. Like, I didn't have to worry about anyone's judgment. I didn't have to worry about like playing a role for anyone. I was able to kind of like process it and digest it on my own terms without any influences. And it really helped. And I came home and I was kind of messing with music here and there for a little while, but I wasn't sure that I wanted to do it. I didn't really, I was like, kind of just trying to ease back into life. I was like, okay, let's start again. And then it just happened. It like, I just like, I don't remember exactly when it was, but there was one day where I was like, okay, I'm back. I'm doing music. This is what I want to do. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that this is like, I spent enough time thinking about maybe going to college or getting a career, and like none of it sounded appealing. But I was like, I want to make music. I want to make music. I want to skate. I want to experience stuff. I want to meet new people. And I ended up meeting like a huge community of friends through the skate park I would always go to that are my best friends now. Um, and I just kept doing music, and it worked out. Like it just like I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew where I wanted to go. There was not really a path, and I just started kind of falling forward. And I've just been falling forward for a long time, and it's working. Like I'm falling into good things, and it's cool. It's really cool.
It's cool to see, how travel helped you a little bit, getting away from it all, honestly. Even if you don't go too far, just getting away from everybody and everything, kind of clearing your head is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
Because, we all go through traumatic experiences, but it's how you handle it. And it's how
yeah.
you
But it's
come back from that.
sorry. I got to take you on a field trip. This cat's gonna lose her mind. But it's also like I would say the traveling is huge because it takes you out of your own headspace, right? It like makes you look at the world different. You get to interact with different things. And when you're seeing something you've never seen that's like breathtakingly beautiful, or like a historical thing, like going to a museum, or just eating some food that you don't get back at home or something like that. Like it it takes you into the moment. It refuses to you don't get to actually experience it if you're caught up in your head.
No,
Like you it always every time I travel, even if it's just to a different state or something, it like puts perspective on my life. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, how lucky are we that I don't know, just seeing new places. I'm going to Ireland in 2 months. Psyched.
that's exciting, man.
Yeah, never been. Going for 12 days.
That's exciting. So where are you going in Ireland? What's the itinerary? Do you know yet?
We have the first part of it figured out. We're going to Dublin for the first 3 nights, and then we're going to Galway. Um, and we're kind of going to bounce around the West Coast for a little bit, and then we're either going to go north to like Castle Rock area. What is it? There's another place up
Giants
there.
Causeway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Or we're going to go down south to Cork.
I would do that. I would recommend that.
Going south.
I would say Cork, Cove, Middleton, that little area around there is
Yeah,
really
the
cool,
little
dude.
peninsula.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Like Killarney, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of dope places down there, man. You're gonna love it. You're just gonna
Yeah.
have a good time in general. Wherever you go, it doesn't matter, but
Well, this is
you're gonna have
also
a
the first
good
time,
time.
like, because I'm going with my wife for our honeymoon, which is sick.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. Uh, but we went to Paris. I proposed to her in Paris. We were there for 7 days, and we filled the 7 days. Like, and we did so much. We did so much. So on this trip, I was like, I want to make it so we have at least one day in every place that we stay where there's no itinerary. Like we're gonna go to the park. We're just gonna walk around the neighborhood. We're just gonna like, because that was one of my favorite things in Paris was just sitting at the cafe, like just letting life go by and just like seeing how like Paris was so cool, man. It's just brimming with life. It just feels like excitement. It's so cool. And that's what I want to do in Ireland. I want to have dedicated days where we're like, we're gonna go read our book, at a pub, like something trivial. But that's almost like some of my favorite parts of traveling. It's the the unplanned, simple things.
That's
Yeah.
generally when you have the best time is when you have nothing planned, you have a free day to kinda, "Hey, we just gotta figure it out today. We have
Yeah.
nothing set in stone, and we're just gonna have a little adventure,
Yeah,
wherever it takes us, it takes us.
yeah. Traveling is a huge part of it. That's like that's I wanna see the world. I wanna see as much I am done with the States. I've seen so much of the States. I still wanna go to the South. I've been to the South a couple of times, but not enough. Like, not like
Yeah,
actual South. I wanna go to the Everglades. I wanna see some gators. I wanna see some swamps. Mm, and then I might I part of me wants to go to, Canada and see some stuff, but I really wanna get out of the country. I really
yeah,
wanna skip that pond and go see more places.
you're headed in the right direction, and it seems like you're making it happen. But before we head off here, I wanted to talk about your most recent tour you did with the group that you're a part of, the Street Sweepers and
Yeah.
Greaves. You did that
Well,
recently, right?
yeah. So to backdate that, like, also right around the time that my brother passed, I started making beats, and that was a huge thing. I just love making beats. I'm like 95% of the stuff that I put out is all my own production. Um, and I have known talking about the battling thing, my friend Ocelot, who's part of the Street Sweepers, I met him when I was 19. I was either 19 or 20 playing a show in Colorado, and before the show started, they had um, a, a freestyle battle, and I jumped in and I bodied this dude, and we've just been bumping shoulders since, and like become friends. I went to his wedding, and then my homie Zach, when I decided after the whole stuff with my dad that came back, I'm like, I do want to do music. Started tapping into the scene and like trying to see what was new. And this kid Zach Ivy kept popping up and he was killing it. Reached out to him and he's like, yeah, dude, I know who you are. Like some of your stuff was the first stuff I ever saw locally, and we became friends. He got on the second Def Letter album, and then we've just been friends for a long time. Like we've trading, showing each other what we're working on, helping each other work on it. And so the Greaves thing happened because Zach and I were trying to get out of town. We had this opportunity to go on tour with Greaves. So we jumped on that. That was the first Out Cold tour. It was 6 shows. Um, and Zach and I, like, it was so cool. We were all playing shows together all the time, and Ocelot was DJing for Zach. And then because I was friends with both of them and I'd be on the same show, I'd be like, hey, Ocelot, can you DJ for me too? So then, like, that same, like, maybe a year later, it was, it was like a year later from that first one, we decided to just start booking ourselves as the Street Sweepers. We like came up with the name, and we were like, well, we'll start booking the Street Sweepers. So then we have a whole block and it's just us. We don't have to like keep like, competing for shows or whatever. And Greaves heard about it. We opened for him when he came through the second Out Cold tour, and he invited us on the following year's tour. So we went. We hadn't up until then. We didn't have any original music. Um, we start making songs, and it's like we make really fun songs. Like it's so much fun. It's such a different vibe from what I do personally. And we're all great performers. We're good friends. We like know how to work as a group. We know how to be professional. So we go on tour with Greaves, and it was originally going to be a buy on situation, but he was like, you know what, you guys are more of an asset than you are like a detriment. So I'm just gonna, it's all good. And then yeah, he invited us out for tour again this year in the Midwest. And yeah, we're going to play Chicago in July, and then we got some more shows in Colorado in August. Yeah, so we've been pretty active. We booked our own show in Colorado with a friend Amp Mello from California, and that was dope. We had people drive like a couple hours from Denver to come to the show, and they were wearing our Street Sweepers merch. I was like, what? Then we booked a show in Boise, and that was a great turnout too. And yeah, but we're not young men, and both those boys have 2 kids and wives and work full time, and I also work full time, and so it's hard to the balance is real. It's tough. We always make time for the shows, but getting the actual music stuff done, that can be hard sometimes.
Oh, definitely, because life gets in the way, man. We all have
Yeah,
responsibilities, bills to pay.
yeah.
So that shit
But I
happens, man.
dude, this last tour, we, played a show right in Wicker Park, Chicago. Chicago's so dope. And then we got to play a show in Kalamazoo, which is where Ocelot was from. That's where his family lives. So we go stay with his parents. We went shoot his dad's ex-military. We went shooting guns. I'd never shot an AR before. That was dope. We jumped in Lake Michigan. Like showed us all the cool parts of his small town. Um, and then like driving around in the Midwest is crazy. There is so much water everywhere.
Mhm.
It's crazy. Minnesota was dope. Minnesota was so dope. I was nervous for that show. I was playing for some of my heroes. It's crazy,
What happened there?
crazy.
What was the
Well, so
situation in Minnesota?
Greaves is he was part of Ryan Sayers for a long time. They're based out of Minnesota,
Mhm.
and I already had a feeling. He told us, he gave us a heads up. He's like, yeah, there's probably going to be some suits in the building. There's going to be some bigger artists in the building that you guys have probably heard of, whatever. Um, and then when we're on stage, he texts us and he's like, I'm texting you guys this right now so you can't see it, but I want you to know that like this person's in the crowd. This person's in the crowd. This A&R is in the crowd. The head of merchandising for this record label's in the house. All these people, and then uh get off the stage, and like a couple of artists that were really impactful to me as a kid, or like a younger guy, like came up and they're like, "Man, that was really dope." And I'm like, "Thank you. This is a trip. Like this is a trip." And it's not the first time that it happened. The year before or 2 years before, when we went on the first Out Cold tour with Greaves, like I was a huge Greaves fan growing up. And I ended up like staying, like he let us crash at his house. He's showing us like this crazy good time, like taking us on a boat and stuff. And he's like my homie now. And I can call him for advice and stuff like that. And it's so strange because it's like, like I'm a grown man. I'm 37. I know how to conduct myself, right, professionally. But the inner child is just like, what is going blown away. Just like, this isn't real. This what is happening. And it's sometimes so weird to try and like connect reality from like the daydreams. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. I mean, I got to I mixed and mastered Greaves' vocals on a song for us. Like that's crazy. It's crazy. It's dope.
But you're living your dream, man. That's what happens when you
Yeah.
stay true to yourself and hone your craft. And I mean, you're
Yeah.
in it. You're living it. Like you
Yeah.
are living your dream. Um, and I think that's so cool, man.
And talking about traveling, this is the coolest thing that I've gotten so far. This thing, let me unplug it to show you really. So I like making beats. That's my favorite thing. And it's really frustrating to be in a tour van for 8 hours and not be able to make beats. Like whenever I have free time, I'm usually working on music. And it's really hard to not work on music when you're on the road. It's like I can write something, but that's not that fun. Like I want to create something from the ground up. And before this thing, there's some phone apps that do okay. There's like some iPad apps that do okay, but you're very limited on what you can do. And carrying a laptop, I've done that a bunch of times. Carrying a laptop, my other drum machine, and my sound card, it's just like 60 pounds of equipment that I gotta lug in and out of the venue, in and out of the hotel every day. And I got this thing, and this thing is fully battery operated. You can sample straight from your phone. Like I can be on the cliffs of Moher in Ireland just making beats.
That's
That's
dope.
This is game changing. And like even if I don't make any good beats, just the idea that like I can take this traveling anywhere and make a beat. Like that is the coolest thing.
What is this
As a
called again?
built-in mic, it's an MPC sample. So MPC, Akai MPC is like one of the oldest drum machines. It's like kind of, like the godfather of beat making besides the SP404. And I think it's really awesome that they're the first ones that made something like this. But this is the equivalent of like a cell phone for the first time or a laptop. Like being able to take the fully standalone anywhere and make a beat is crazy. And I can't wait to do it. Can't
That's a
wait to
game
do it.
changer. It gives you,
It is.
when you have some like spark or idea that comes to mind, you could just put it down.
Exactly. I've been bringing it to work because sometimes work's slow. I'm just like making beats. Customers are like, "Hey, can I get a beer?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me a second. I'm chopping this in." I don't actually do that. I'm like, I'm locked in, but yeah, sometimes there's a lot of free time there, and I make beats.
Mark, we're gonna wrap this up soon. Did you want to leave anything to the listeners?
The biggest thing is like, I like people have told me time and time again, like, "Oh man, I always wanted to rap." I'm like, then rap. Just do it. Like well, I don't know how. Why you gotta just do it. You won't know how until you do it. Like, don't try, just do it. And it might suck. And that's okay. Like, I have notebooks and notebooks full of terrible songs. I have folders and I have gigs of terrible beats. But you're fishing. You're fishing. Art is fishing. You're just waiting for the right fish. Sometimes it's catch and release. Sometimes you get the winner, right? But like that goes with anything in life. Like if you want to do something, just do it. Don't worry about how it will work out or like, well, I don't know how to get from here to here. Like life has a way. Whatever weird thing is going on in this universe, like will usually like open doors for you when you start to like try to move in a certain direction. And if there's like, even if you don't do it for professional stuff, like if you've ever wanted to like, you want to be into woodworking or you want to like make, like clay pots or whatever. Like if there's anything that's just always called to you, do it. Do it. Make time for it. Even if you have a job and a family, make time for it because it's like, I feel like that is how you conversate with the divine is through like expression of self and creativity. And it's how it helps process all sorts of things that you don't even know you need to process. I think creativity is a gigantic necessity in the world. So if you want to be creative, go create. Easy.
Ah, man, that's perfect advice. The like having a creative outlet, I think it makes you happier as a human being.
Yeah, it does. It does because you get to express yourself. You get to express yourself in whatever way you want. And art is subjective, so there's no rules, there's no guidelines. Doesn't matter. And you don't need to monetize everything. I know that everyone tells you how to turn your side hustle into a retirement. Who cares? If you have enough money to pay your bills, you're good. Don't monetize it if you don't need to. Like, I yeah, I can make art for a living, right? Like, I don't. I it would be great if I only made art for a living, but until then, like, I work so that I can provide myself with time for art, and I'm happy as it ever be because of it. So, yeah, that's all. Nothing's impossible. Go do stuff. Do cool stuff. Go travel. Go see somewhere new. Even go see somewhere new in your hometown. Guarantee there's places you haven't been. Take a different route home from work. I don't know. Be adventurous. Be curious. My
You heard it
advice.
from Dumb Luck. Just get out there and do it. Don't think
Just do
about
it.
it too much, you know?
Yeah. Like a
Just live the
freestyle.
way.
You can't overthink it. If you overthink it, you're gonna ruin the vibe.
Yeah. And work to live. Don't live to work.
Yes. That is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on today, man. You built a really cool thing, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Go listen to my music, guys. Whoever's tuning in. Go
All
check it
right.
out. I got a new album coming in a couple months. It's gonna be good.
And what are your handles? Instagram and everything.
At Dumb Lucky is my Instagram. It's Dumb Luck for Spotify and stuff. There's a few of them. Some imposters trying to steal my shine, but I'm up there. You'll see the mustache. See, and I look the same. I'm a vampire. I've looked the same for the last 10 years. Um, I also have 2 albums out under the moniker Def Letter, DEF space LETTER. The second album is more my cup of tea. The first album is angsty, and I was an angry little lad. And then the Street Sweepers on Spotify, and then Street Sweepers SLC on all of our social media stuff. Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's it.
Sweet, man. Well,
Yeah.
Mark, I'm excited to see what you have to come in the future, and best of luck with everything.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great to have you, man. And I'll
Yeah.
talk to you soon, dude.
Okay, peace, brother.
Peace, brother. And folks, always remember, the world is your oyster.
That's it for this episode of People, Places, and Things. Follow along at Ppt.travel.com, on YouTube at Ppt.travel, and Instagram at JR_low. Until next time, keep exploring.